Hey guys, so this video is basically a review of all the resources I use to pass the Nclex. As you can see in my previous video, I had failed the Nclex when I first took it, and when I had first taken it, I was just using Kaplan. Before I had graduated nursing school, my friends and I were all trying to decide what exactly review we would use. We were between Kaplan, Hurst, because those are the two big ones. And I'm going to share with you my experience with both of them because I actually did both. So when I first did Kaplan, and it's great that they have a money back guarantee because I got to use it. Unfortunately, Kaplan didn't work for me. I do not want to bash Kaplan because it did work for a lot of people that I know that had used Kaplan. Kaplan isn't for everyone, and I definitely think that the reason why I didn't pass with Kaplan was because my instructor was not great. So that's another thing that influences whether Kaplan will work for you or not. The instructor that I had was pretty much really focusing on the strategy tree that they believe in, decisional tree, and it does work, but only for certain questions, I believe, and there are more strategies to just the decision tree. So that's just basically what I think about Kaplan. It works for certain people, and it also really depends of the instructor, if the instructor is good or not. Because like I said, it has worked for other people that I know. So after I had failed, I knew that I had to change my way of studying. Clearly, the way I was studying for the first time didn't work. Another mistake that I did when I first took the Nclex was not really focusing on drugs. Unfortunately, drugs is one of the hardest things we have to memorize, but we have to do it. So I knew that I had to memorize my drugs. I know there aren't many, and that was the thing that I believed on, that it was only going to be 18% of the test, but that can really mess you up. So what I did the second time was I bought myself a book called Made Insanely Easy. It's a pharmacology book, and it's great because it really breaks down each drug in a simple way that you will memorize. They use mnemonics that will help you memorize each drug. So, for example, just a drug, the potassium sparing diuretics. You see how this image? And then the mnemonic is leak, and L for low sodium, E for elevated T-waves because you are increasing your potassium. Because remember, with potassium-sparing diuretics, you are not losing potassium, so that's the difference with this type of diuretic. A is for granulocytosis, and K is for potassium level has to be monitored. So that's just an example. So what I did with each of the drugs that I knew was going to be on the test, because you can check all the drugs, a list of drugs on the NCSBN website, I would grab an index card, and I would pretty much write what I knew about the drug. And another tip that I have is, when you're answering questions, just for example, this is my lithium index card and with just facts on the back. I did many of them. I wish I can show you all of them, but there's just so many. So that's what I did with my farm when it came to farm, because I definitely knew that I had to memorize my farm, and writing them and going over them and just taking them when I was heading to work, on the way back, on the train, any way I was commuting, I was always with my index card, and it really has helped. So that's just with farm. That's a great thing about farm. The same author has a book called Made Insanely Easy, with just nursing, and these are just kind of like the same thing, mnemonics, but instead of farm, just other things that we need to memorize, like when it comes to PPEs, the way you properly put on a personal protective equipment. They give you this image. So number 1, you put on the gown, 2, you put on the mask, 3, you put on the goggles, and 4, gloves. So just an easy way to just picture mentally the order of how to put them on. And an example, again, how to remove them. So 1, you remove the gown, 2, you remove the goggles, 3, you remove the gown, and then 4, you remove the mask. So that's that. Another book that I used was this comprehensive book by ATI. My school was a true believer of ATI. During school, I didn't like ATI. Then we were given this quick review of 3 days, and it really made a difference. I liked it. It made me like ATI. But when I first took the NCLEX, I didn't bother reading this book because, again, I believed that just with Kaplan was enough. But no, Kaplan is not just enough. So for the second time I took my test, I decided to read this whole book, and it's great. It makes the form very easy. It divides it in great categories, and then it also simplifies everything you need to know for the exam. And although I said that Kaplan didn't work for me, I do think it would have worked if my instructor was better, because then I got myself the course book. When you purchase the Kaplan course, you're given this, but online. I recommend you to get the physical book. It would make a difference. I thought that just, I wanted to save a couple of dollars. I figured it's really unfair that they don't give you the actual book because you are paying for it, but instead they make you buy it if you want the physical book. So for the second time I took the exam, my friend let me borrow it, and it made a huge difference. I would physically write in it. I have tabs all over it. It's just better to have the physical book in front of you. So that's another tip I have for this book. And this is the RN course book by Kaplan, which is great. A lot of people are true believers of Saunders. I have the book because I was using it throughout my whole nursing school. I thought it was very helpful during nursing school. For the NCLEX, it is great, but because I had already had these other books that were more specific to the NCLEX, I decided to just study all of these. And the Saunders book, I was just basically using it when I didn't understand something from the books that I had read previously. The questions are a little easy, so don't think that they're challenging, because the NCLEX questions are nothing like this. So if you want to just use it for content, that's great. But if you think you're getting NCLEX level questions from this book, I wouldn't think so. And then this other book, the Lippincott Q&A Review for Nclex-RN. Many people love this book, and I liked it. I'm going to say it is good. A lot of the questions are challenging, but I didn't think it was as challenging as this other program that maybe many of you haven't heard of, and it's called Uworld. It's great. Uworld is great. First of all, they give you a 1-week trial for free, and that's when I found out about Uworld, the week before I had taken my test for the first time. And when I first started doing Uworld, I was after I was doing Uworld for the first time, I was starting to freak out, because it tells you the level or the percentage that you got right, the average one, and then the one you did. And my scores were low. They were so low, the questions were challenging, but what I liked about Uworld was not only that the questions were challenging, but the explanations were great. Kaplan, unfortunately, the explanations that they give you are so vague. And on the contrary, Uworld was just great. They were very specific, they had diagrams, and another thing about Uworld is that they give you a lot of multiple choice questions. And as much as we hate multiple choice questions, they will appear in the NCLEX. So Kaplan doesn't give you enough, in my opinion, for you to be prepared for them, and Uworld gives you so many. I'm going to say there's an average of about 30 Uworld, 30 multiple choice questions and a Q bank of 75 when you take a test of 75 questions. And that's many. And they are exhausting. But trust me, it's worth it. Uworld, I'm a true believer of Uworld all the way. After I had failed the test and I decided to do Uworld, I saw a huge difference. I was answering my questions much better, And on the second try of taking my NCLEX, I passed with about 87 questions. So I think Uworld did a huge difference. And lastly, I want to talk about Hurst. Hurst is great. If you want to do Hurst, I would prefer doing Hurst over Kaplan, just because you get the content base, and they give you like worksheets that you would follow along as you're watching the videos. And they really, through Hurst, I learned a lot. It made a lot of things very simple. It's like simple nursing. That's what it is. And as I was taking this course, I was like, wow, I wish that I had done this course maybe during nursing school. I would have done much better. But they give you, like, let me see if I can show you here. 'Cause this whole binder is filled with the worksheets that I was given. And like, for example, CHF. Like, she just breaks it down, you see? And you go along as with the video that they show you. So I think it's just a good content-based background that you need in case, like, maybe your nursing school wasn't that great, or you just completely forgot. Because remember, we have to know a lot of things. What we've learned in nursing school, we have to learn for the NCLEX in a matter of a month or two. So overall, as a summary, I do want to say, for all those people that think they have to purchase Kaplan or Hurst to pass the NCLEX, I don't think so. My personal advice for all those people that want to pass the NCLEX and can't afford all these expensive programs, because I know Hurst is very expensive. It's like about $400 or $500. Kaplan, with the school discount code that I had at the moment, I believe it cost me about $375. So all of these are very expensive course, but like I said, gladly, in case you do fail, they give you back your money. So it did work. But you know, there are things in order for you to guarantee that you get your money back. You have to attend all of the classes, and you have to be active, and you have to do all your Q banks to show that you did try to pass using their course. So my advice to you, for all those people that want to pass the NCLEX and can't afford to pay all these expensive courses, get this book, the RN course book by Kaplan. Another Kaplan book that I do highly recommend, and I feel like because of that book I did pass, was the Kaplan 2015 to 2016 strategy book. That book is very thin, but it really breaks down the strategies that Kaplan believes in, and those are the strategies I was supposed to be taught during the class that I took. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if I think it was just my instructor that was just really bad and she didn't teach me these strategies, because of those strategies I learned how to take the NCLEX. You have to learn how to take it. You have to learn how to read the question and decipher what they're asking you and figure out the answer. And reading that book helped me answer all the questions very differently. If you have ATI, read it all the way. And that Kaplan book, and you do not need to get this farm book. You don't have to get it. It makes it easier, but you can get any farm book, or you can just look up the drugs online. You can use your resources and make index cards. Just make them. They will make a difference. So I feel like with that is more than enough for you to pass the NCLEX. Just do questions every single day, no matter what. Do not stop. I know some days you're just tired, exhausted. There are going to be certain days where you're just going to be like, is this over? But just keep on going and you will succeed. And I just want to make it clear that you have to work hard. It takes a lot of dedication, it takes time and commitment. I wish you all the best and hope this video was very helpful. Thanks.